What's up, guys? I wasn't expecting that live to come so quickly.
Keenan shocked us and surprised us on that one. We are here.
Welcome back, you guys. I want to remind you guys, if you haven't already done it, subscribe to our channel. Hit that, smash that like button. It helps us out a lot. We're here every single week, so make sure you turn on those notifications.
This week we are revisiting the FRAG 105.4 build that we ended about 6 months ago. We're going to go check in on that and see the progress.
Yes, so let's get it started, you guys.
Heyo, and we're back.
Hey guys, I want to encourage you all to post your questions below. It could be anything related to the episode, anything related to Waterbox. You want to ask Jess something, because we do give away stuff every episode. Today we're giving away the new...
I know, I'm excited.
We finally have some here. As you know, Jess drops knowledges every week on Waterbox Live,
shirts.
so we got some shirts. These are available in our store, so if you want to pick these up, you can head over to the website. Really cool shirts.
We got that
Dropping
one,
Knowledges, Broken
saltwater
English.
and freshwater version of Dropping Knowledges. So
Yeah, I have
give
that
those
here,
two
don't I?
away. Oh yeah, freshwater one is over here. But we need to see the likes equal to the number of people viewing
Yeah,
to
smash
give
that
away
like
some
button,
stuff.
guys.
So hit the like, it helps us out a lot.
So
and
there's
here's
the
your freshwater.
That's really cool.
Love them. So we'll give 2 of these away, but you can also get your own Dropping Knowledges on the website.
Yeah, so definitely, guys, put your questions down below. Smash that like button.
Got a lot of people joining us already. I think people are excited because I think the FRAG was one of our favorite builds. People loved it. Turned out beautiful.
Yes.
Used Ecotech equipment, aquascape corals, everything was really stunning. So I think everyone's excited to kind of see us look back on it, because we haven't really shown much of it. We did a little bit here and there throughout these last 6 months, but it's been kind of just doing its thing.
We've been giving it love. It's one of our favorite tanks. Jess's aquascape in it is amazing. The corals, all from Worldwide Corals, are beautiful. They're all super healthy.
Very, very nice
Love
tank.
this system.
It's time for us to spend a little bit of time back on the FRAG 105.4.
Yeah, which I think we're spending, what, the next 3 weeks?
3 or 4?
3 weeks or 4 weeks?
3
weeks we'll be on the FRAG. You guys are going to be doing a lot of cool stuff with it, so make sure you tune in every week for that.
All right. But last week, we had a big announcement.
We did.
Which is anyone missed it or has been living under a rock and doesn't know. We did release new Peninsula models.
Yes. So you guys, last week, if you were tuning in, that whole web episode, Keenan, was dedicated to the Peninsula, was it not?
Yeah.
So Peninsula 3620, 4820, as well as the Peninsula all-in-one 50.3 and 65.4. We can pull them up on the computer.
You want to show which one?
Go to the Peninsula with just the Peninsula 3620, 48. So basically, we added a 3 and a 4 foot Peninsula system to our Peninsula line,
Which has been asked for many, many years.
Oh my gosh.
So we're really excited that we were able to finally bring a smaller Peninsula, and with a sump version and all-in-one. Lots of great choices. And last week, you can even look and see, we had the 3 foot one set up here, so you guys could see it up and running. Turned out beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So when you guys ask us for things, and whether you're posting them here in the YouTube chat, or you're posting them on our Facebook group, or you're emailing us, whatever, we take that consideration very seriously. And I remember people actually getting very frustrated that they wanted a 3 or a 4 foot Peninsula.
Yes. We got yelled at. We got yelled at a lot
I
about
had some pretty
it.
angry people about it. And you know, these things take time to design and roll out, believe it or not.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit that goes into releasing this product worldwide. But we finally have it here. So there's a lot of people already. We're going to start seeing on the user group.
Yeah, you're going to start seeing them in the user group. They've already been shipping and being received by Waterbox family. So you'll see hopefully in our user group on Facebook, a Waterbox official user group, them receiving them and starting to see what they do. But you can also see what we did with our 3 foot one here. I think it turned out beautiful.
It's amazing.
So we used the Carib Sea arches and all the life rock, which made it much easier to escape a peninsula. So highly recommend the rock bundles that we have for those.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys didn't get a chance to look at it after we get done here today, head over to last week's video. You can see that whole video in detail. It's a very popular video.
Very.
Yes.
And very popular build, the FRAG 105.
Yes.
So we actually pulled some video footage, basically like our recap whenever we ended that build to now, to kind of show the difference a bit. We're going to go take a look at the tank. It's grown in really, really well. Is this now?
This is
okay.
previously. So there you go. You can even see, yeah. So that's a nice before and after. You can see that soft coral growing in real nicely. Wow, look at that.
Wow, yeah, that one's gotten huge.
I haven't seen this video yet. By the
Me
way.
neither.
So
we find this out
yeah,
as
we're
we're
gonna be very
watching.
surprised ourselves. So you guys get to learn, watch it with us.
So yeah, I mean, for us, like day to day, we're like, oh, things have grown a bit. We can tell that it's filled in more, but it's hard to
So this is the
see
now
it.
picture.
But yeah, so the leathers have grown in really nice. The hammers and all have gotten more heads on them. Our Goniapora in there, definitely much larger. And we have some like chalices and like some encrusting stuff that it's a slower process, but they're definitely starting to encrust onto the rock and stuff around it. Got some acans, and there's tons of babies around the bottom of there.
Something I need to zap there in the right corner.
Yeah, I know. I was like, who's gonna call me out on that?
I did.
You did it before they did. All right.
All right, great.
Yeah, so some beautiful Blastos. Everything's definitely grown nice. It's filling in. It's a lot. It's a patience process.
Yeah.
It really is. So I mean,
It
it's
really,
mostly an
really
LPS
is.
system. There are some zoos and stuff in there, a few like Yumas, but for the most part, it's like chalices, frog spawns, Blastos, acans, that kind of stuff, bower bankies. So it's not a huge, fast process, but we've been just very ritualized on our maintenance and just keeping everything on track. Everything's stayed very, very happy. So
Yeah, and guys, I do want to mention that real quick. If you want to see the entire build series of this, it was a 10-week build.
it was, yeah.
10 weeks. When you head over to waterboxaquariums.com, right up at the very top right, you'll see a link that says videos. That has all of our more recent builds, so you can go quickly check that out to really watch the entire process, because we went from A to Z.
It came from delivery all the way through setting up, and that's with, Ecotech equipment. So we have all the high-end stuff on there, just A to Z. You've never had an aquarium before. This can tell you basically everything to kind of get going. The cycling process. We added fish, corals, inverts. So it's a really great learning experience, or if you've been in the hobby for a while, but you've never used those types of equipment, we kind of broke it down pretty easily for you.
Yep.
We have questions?
One question here that I thought should be brought up.
Okay. Algae Warrior, why is it called a frag tank? Is it the dimensions?
Yeah, so great question. We call it a frag tank because typically what we call a frag tank is a lot shorter than your traditional tank. Typically, people keep frags, which is fragmented corals that they're growing out or selling or something like that, in a much shallower tank because they don't need all the aquas, they don't need the rock, a lot of the other things that go into that type of tank. This is the second generation Waterbox frag.
Yeah.
Our first frag was about a little over 12 inches tall, so it was very short. That's like a real frag tank. We decided to make it a little bit taller, mostly because most people are using it as a display tank.
It is. So yeah, I mean the original first version was meant as like an actual frag type system. We found that a couple more inches tall would allow it to be. We've seen people do full blown reefs like this.
Yeah.
Nice look down lagoon. You can use it as a frag. It's more versatile with a little bit extra inches there, but it's not as tall as the regular reef line and that stuff. And for a short person like myself, I love it because I can actually get into that tank and clean it, and I'm not on step ladders, stuff like that. I like the kind of top-down look because when you're looking down on your tank, you get some of the coolest views because of the way you can stop down and see the corals and the color and stuff. So
that
very
actually
popular.
reminds me, and I didn't think of it till now. We did a build on the original frag. It was a 4-foot frag, which I believe was an 80.4, which is now a 105.4. We have, if you go back through our YouTube channel, there is a build on the 80.4. We did like a lagoon style with mangroves and stuff like that. Remember that?
We clams.
Then we had the little anemones in there, the rock.
So it was a oh my God, flower rock anemones.
I was leaving that
Lost
to you because
my mind.
I was leaving that to you because I had the
we
same
had
problem.
clams, and I think we did zoanthids, a soft, shallow. We had mangroves in the back, clams up front. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that one. So that was a pretty cool build, but that was back at that really shallow. And there was not as much you could do with
It's 12 and a half inches tall.
Yeah.
Now we're at the new frag 16.
And you can see with the scape, we're able to get some arches in there, some tunnels, and a lot of space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, we got 3 and 4 foot. Now I got 5 and 6 foot of the frag.
Ah,
So which is a little bit newer addition is the 5 and 6 foot frag. So
which has me thinking we really need one of those.
actually, in the user group, someone actually it's a 6 foot frag, and they had their back wall done,
Aren't
kind
they?
of like in
Yeah.
slatted like this,
Yeah.
but in like alternating colors, and then they had the 6 foot frag again. So it was
Yeah.
a beautiful
I
sight.
know.
So
And that was. I saw that frag and I'm like, wow, that is such a cool system.
yeah,
Somehow that 6 foot frag looks so much different than a Reef Pro 220.6
It does.
or a Reef 220.6.
very sleek or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but I think we're gonna go. Do we have questions before we go out there, or do
I
we?
think we're good to go out there. Maybe we'll get more questions as we come back in.
Yeah,
Okay.
so again, you guys, post your questions below. We're giving away some shirts here towards the end of the stream. We appreciate you all being here. Smash that like button.
We'll go take a trip out
Yeah,
to the frag.
we're gonna actually head out here. We're gonna talk about some of the equipment, some of the corals, all the good stuff. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in here maybe weren't around or watching for this build. Hopefully you were, but
And if you aren't, hopefully you're going to go back and watch and check it out because it was a great build, especially if you're like just recently getting a water box in or you have one on order and it's going to be coming to you soon. Then that was a great build just to show you how to just
yeah.
go from start to finish on everything. But we did this one.
Can you shut that door, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so dark in here.
We can turn on the light if you want, but it looks really nice.
No, we're good.
Yeah, no,
we're
we gotta
good. It's
give
all
them
about
we
the
gotta give
tank
them
here.
the full effect here. This thing is beautiful.
Yeah, so like you said, this whole tank is full of worldwide corals. They sponsored the build, and we paired that along with all the Ecotech equipment. So we did, the high end of all things, but still very user friendly. We've got your XR radions on here.
Yeah, the XR15 blues specifically.
You got your MP40s for flow. We'll probably bring it on down into the sump and go over equipment real quick before we look at everything.
Yeah, so guys, we went all Ecotech equipment on this, and we did that because everyone knows Worldwide Corals, they use radions in all their systems. We wanted to go that route, so we got the MP40s, we got the Vectra return pump, we got the Versa doser. The whole thing's decked out, all Ecotech equipment. On the filtration side, of course, the Nio skimmer. I will tell you guys though, and you see it probably just a second ago, we are not running the Versa doser, and you might be surprised by that. But the reality is right now the tank's in a position that we don't really need to do too much dosing. So our water changes have been sufficient to keep the levels where they need to be. So we're not running it. In the very near future, me and Jess have talked about that we do want to look into automating our water changes with the Versa, but we are not dosing with it just yet.
Yeah, so really on this aquarium here is our maintenance schedule is roughly every 2 weeks we're doing a water change, and pretty much once per week cleaning the protein skimmer, 1 to 2 times a week changing out the filter socks, making sure the auto top of reservoir is always full, so that's constantly working. We clean the glass, every day or two as needed as you start to see any buildup on it. And we run like some chemical media that changes about once a month. And that's it. We leave it very kind of hands-offish in a way. The more you mess with the tank, the worse it is usually. And our bioload's pretty small. We have the 2 clownfish. We've got a couple shrimp and crabs and stuff in here. But because our bioload's slow and we have like a lot of LPS, it does also mean about once a week we also broadcast feed and then target feed some of our bigger eaters of corals.
Right.
A-cans and a lot of like the Bower bankies and stuff like that really like to eat. So those do get spot fed pretty regularly also because they don't have much waste in the water.
Right. And guys, I do want to mention what Jess was talking about is with this tank, we really it's simplicity, right? We're not dumping a bunch of different bottles of stuff, a bunch of snake water into the tank. We're relying on water changes to replace the elements. We're making sure we're skimming enough. We're not overfeeding. It's really a simplistic approach to like a mixed reef tank. Anybody can do this. It's really not hard. So it's honestly my favorite approach. I know you guys have heard me say that a bunch in regards to keeping this. Keenan, if you can zoom in on my favorite coral right there.
I was actually going to mention that, but I was like, he hasn't mentioned it yet.
The coral that Keenan's zooming in right now is a branching GSP. It's a green star polyp. My favorite coral.
You guys see the ones toward the middle as well?
It looks
it's
like
kind of like going through a hole.
It looks like an SPS, like a really fuzzy SPS, but it's actually a green star polyp. We got it from our good friend Tran, who's in our user group. You can see his tank there. He just recently did a post on
So
that
they make,
too.
so this thing, I've never seen it before. It's like some, I don't know, hybrid out on the West Coast
I've
or
only
something.
seen it in San Diego one time, and then I saw Tran had it.
And so it actually grows branches. And we took 2 pieces and kind of just covered them in little holes, and they're kind of encrusting and growing their
Yeah,
branches
there's another
up.
one up in the middle
Up
there,
in the
too.
middle there. And it, like you said, it grows. It looks like the hairiest Miliopora in existence. It's
I love
really,
that.
really cool. So I'm excited to see how over the next couple of years this thing really grows out. Like Tran fans is huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge section of his like 130,
Yeah.
I think.
He just
it's got
fragged
all
it.
of these branches sticking up. It's
Yeah.
like so cool looking. And but
Definitely
you know,
one of my favorites.
I say like our leathers in the middle have gotten absolutely huge, and it's hard to show like each one, but like our chalices have definitely, they were like small little frags when they came. All the hammers and stuff are getting multiple heads in there. The Goniapora has gotten a lot bigger too.
Yeah, and you may have
pink
noticed
one
just that
down
I
there.
broke that cap the other day, but don't worry about that.
I saw it falling to the ground.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what this is doing. We're just gonna put it back up here.
Yeah, I was in there with the glass cleaner and actually knocked it off. So that's a tip, you guys. When you're in there cleaning, be very gentle. You can if you knock into your corals, especially some of these SPS. they'll
Rich
break
broke our
right off.
coral.
Yeah, luckily monoporas grow really quick, so it'll sprout
Yeah.
right
One of my
back up.
pieces of mag I love the leather and stuff is the Blastos, the red and green ones here. I love Blastos and A-cans. And that one there, I think it was 2, maybe 3 heads on there, much smaller, and they've got a ton of babies around the back of it. You know, that and like Goniaporas, always beautiful. But like you said, they're not super fast growers, but you'll notice from like when we ended this one, all the frags were tiny. Like you kind of see them on the rock, and now they actually start to have lots of colors filling in.
A lot of people asking what's the intensity on the radions. We're just using the when you load up the radions, they have some templates for you, and we're using what's called the AB plus. I brought the intensity down just a bit. I'd say maybe like 50% on that particular schedule, but that's really about it. That AB plus is very similar to what you're going to see a lot of really successful reef keepers using. That's really why I believe they developed the XR15 blues, because that AB plus schedule is what so many people were using. They really wanted to focus on that blue color and that
Yeah, it's
labeling.
good for all kinds of different reefs, and it's tried and true. It's a signature on their signature series. And you'll find that when you ask people with their radions what they're using, the answer a lot of times is the AB plus.
Yeah.
And it's what wonders for ours. Like I have no complaints with the lighting schedule at all.
Yeah, and from my understanding, this is a Worldwide Corals tank. If you go to Worldwide Corals, they use a bit of a modified AB plus, but I mean the foundation's the AB plus. I could be
Right
wrong
now-
too, but I think they might have like kind of coined that.
They're not really seeing the blue because we have a filter on the lens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, you guys, this tank, we're using a blue light filter on this camera, so you're not really seeing how blue the tank actually looks. The reason for that is it doesn't really look that great on camera. You don't get that same, it doesn't look like the real thing.
Blue and glowing corals is very hard to capture on a camera.
It is.
Very, very hard.
Yeah, so you're seeing quite a bit more white version, like a whiter light than it actually looks like. Joanne says they're heading to Worldwide Corals on Sunday. Tony says give Rich's broken coral away with a t-shirt for the giveaway.
Rich broke
You
our
know what?
grafted cap.
That's a Worldwide Corals grafted cap. It's like an orange.
Which one is it?
It's the one right up there in the corner, Keenan, right here.
Yeah, so get some green in it.
Yeah, if you zoom in, you can see the green, little bit of green patches on
And as
there.
it grows out, it tends to get chunks of green in it, and then you might have like high patches of orange. I think you're just mad that one side for being all orange, so you just broke it off.
Yeah, I think so. You know
So
what's
the
funny is I
piece
didn't
that
even
broke
notice
off
I
is just
broke it
wedged
till
right behind it.
afterwards. I broke it, and then I was walking by the tank later, and I was like, "Did I break that off?" I certainly did.
You self-fragged. It's okay.
Yeah, monoporas, those capping monoporas, they grow really, really fast.
Yeah.
I've had some capping monoporas in the past that I grew out into like 2-foot colonies
No, they get
multiple
huge.
times.
Yeah, we have one in the 220 that's in the lobby as well that has grown onto the glass and kind of around the sides, so they can grow pretty fast and pretty far out.
Yeah,
So you
they're
also
very
have to be
resilient.
careful where you place them too, because you put them in the middle of
Yeah.
your tank and they start to grow out, and then they're shelving. Then that whole section of your tank then gets shadowed,
Right.
and you just have a cat there. Like you just
Right,
have to
right.
kind of think of the way the growth pattern goes and where you place corals in the aquarium.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's looking great. We're
It
gonna
looks
do some
beautiful.
hands-on stuff with it for a couple weeks.
It's definitely one of my favorite tanks that we've set up for sure. I mean,
Like you said, it's a minimalist, and I like
Yeah.
minimalist from the look of it as far as escape and not a ton of fish and focusing on the corals and stuff like that, to the minimalist as far as like not going too crazy with the maintenance and like
Yeah.
letting the system be mature. I find, and I always did, all my years doing this, is people are always like, I'm in my tank every day. There's so much to do. Like, there isn't, and usually the more you're in there, the worse you're making things.
yeah.
The more you're moving stuff around, the more you've got your
more
hand
you're
in and out,
tinkering,
your
yeah.
oils and all the different stuff that it does. Hands off and do just what you need to do tends to be the best approach with an aquarium.
Yeah, yeah. And
You can tinker too much.
That's exactly what I love about this system is we just went minimalistic. We don't do a whole lot to it. We just
And if
keep
you
our
have,
hands out of it.
yeah, if you have really good equipment, you know, your
Yeah.
lights are good, you're using a good skimmer, you know, you're using good chemical media, reactors, flow, you know, they're doing a lot of the work for you. You're really just need to do those water changes, dosing if you really need it, and feeding. Like,
Right.
keep the rest kind of just let it be on its own.
Yeah.
I think it does the best. So,
And that's one of the reasons I like mixed reefs a lot, is because
yeah, if you're getting an SBS, all what I just said is totally wrong.
yeah, just
like,
throw all of
nother
that
ballgame.
extreme high maintenance.
Maybe one day we'll do one of those. Maybe not. I don't know.
You know, honestly, what's funny is the reality is one of my favorite tanks is all SBS.
No, it's my favorite coral,
When you
but
get
my
a-
most hated coral as well.
yeah.
So,
Can be rather difficult, you know. Definitely get accustomed to keeping a mixed reef before you even dive into like the SPS. And when we say SPS, they're the hard corals, the small polyp stony corals that rather expensive, can grow and fast. some of them
acroporas,
can grow slow.
milioporas,
Yeah.
like all of those, like, yeah, they require super stable water, really
Mm-hmm.
high lighting, like perfect everything. They grow slow. They'll change their color to poopy brown in like a heartbeat if you don't do it right. They're very, very trying. And one day, I mean, maybe we will do a build on one of those because they are my favorite coral. But I have a love-hate as far as I love them, but I hate to keep them
Yeah.
because they are so hard. I had
Yeah.
a 220 that was only SBS, and it was like
I did too,
the
actually.
most nerve-wracking, stressful, but beautiful thing probably ever.
When they're successful, it's amazing though, because they just
Yeah, that's
they're-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, good questions.
Tyler C says, "Where's the best place to place a chalice or a monopora frag?"
Well, those are completely different. Chalices vary a lot. A lot of them don't like to be blasted by light, or they have to be kind of work their way up to it. Some of them are going to be bleached really easily. So do check kind of how they're being kept, where you're getting them from, what kind of lighting, and where they're placed, if they're used to highlight or not. And monopora tends to love light. So you can put
Yeah.
them up higher. If it's a plating monopora, like a cap, place it over an open area where it's not going to shade anything. And then most of your other ones are going to be like encrusting along the rocks. So they're going to just continue traveling out on the rocks. So make sure you've got the right spot for them. But do be careful because chalices can bleach really easily. Victoria Bonnie says, do you target feed the Blastos? Yes, they love food. It's like acans. That's how you're going to get all those babies to pop off there. Even try and get some mysis and stuff to the babies on the outside because they're going to be much slower growers if you don't feed them. They need a lot of food. Acan, a lot of your LPS do. They need meaty foods to grow faster. So spot feed your Blastos and acans and all them.
I want to take this question because I don't know if they will, but Kalido Reef says, what do you recommend as a battery backup for a tank? I lost power for a bit more than 40 hours last week with the winter storm in Houston, Texas. The cool thing about the MP40s that we have in the system here is
point.
Ecotech Marine makes a battery backup. So, and it hooks right up to their products.
Yep, so it kicks on as needed.
Yeah.
And depending on your mode and how many you put up to them, I know they can last, I think, up to about two or so days. I want to
Yeah,
say.
I think
or
it would have
48,
probably
96
lasted.
hours, somewhere
Yeah.
depending on your which pump it is and which one, and it's also for your main pump or your power heads.
Yeah, so you're investing in your aquarium, you're investing in animals. I highly recommend having some sort of backup.
Yes.
At the very least, there's some different type of pumps, battery backups, air pumps that are designed for like the fishing industry, which I've seen a lot of people use, which I've used them in the past.
Yeah, bait bubblers or whatever
Yeah,
are
yeah.
great for that. There's like third-party power supplies as well that you can use. They just don't last as long for big equipment.
Yeah.
Whereas like the battery backups from Ecotech, they last a long time because they're designed for those high output, and they're heavy.
Yeah, they're
Those
heavy.
things are like 20 pounds a piece. Like you're like, oh, a battery, and you're like, oh my god, but it's like
legit battery.
It is legit battery backup. Well worth the investment, especially if you already have Ecotech equipment, because it's no fuss. They just hook together. It kicks in as it needs to. You're not home. You don't even know your power goes out. That can save your tank. So that's a good question with what's happened recently for a lot of the country.
Yep. Something that you always got to prepare for. Nicholas Williams, is there a certain order to how you should add corals? He's new to all this.
Yeah, so you've got, your different types of corals have like easiness as far as their requirements. So like your soft corals, mushrooms, star polyps, leathers, anything that doesn't have a hard skeleton is called a soft coral. They're gonna be your easiest. They're forgiving. They don't need as much light. Your water can fluctuate a little bit more. They don't need, as much flow in the beginning. That's gonna be where you start. Then you move to like LPS, which is a lot of what's in there now. Frog spawns, hammers, acans, chalices. They range from kind of like easier LPS to harder. So like start with basically the fleshier it is, the more flesh it has, and the less stone, the easier it is.
Yeah.
So as you kind of sequence through, you get like more of a stony base. It gets harder to keep. So then you move your way to SPS. That's like basically all stone, a little bit of flesh and polyps, the hardest to keep. So you're gonna go in that direction.
Yeah.
Flesh to stone.
Yep.
Andrew Fortula says, setting up a marine tank is intimidating to me. What do you wish you knew before you set up your first one? Waterbox YouTube videos.
Yes.
If only.
You know what's funny?
If only,
oh my
like
gosh.
25 plus years. Oh my, longer
Yeah.
than that. Okay, 25 years ago, we're gonna go with that. If I had videos like this and could like watch all these builds and stuff,
Oh my goodness.
I would have learned so much.
We had to pick up printed books or something like that.
There was.
Yeah.
And then eventually along came forums, and that was a hot mess of information.
Yeah.
And then like
Total
you
hot
worked
mess.
your way through to now, and like having the like available videos and stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube, and like ours. I think we're just very down to earth, like real about it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of experience, so we kind of work through a lot of all the mess that people haven't.
And I always say to you guys, find somebody that has a successful aquarium and just model what they do. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just find, like, look at the frag out there. Look what we do on that. Replicate that. Or it doesn't even have to be us. Find somebody that has a successful aquarium, find out what they do, use them as a mentor, model it, and there you go.
Yeah.
You got a
Very true.
successful aquarium.
No one's
so.
reinventing anything.
Yeah. There's a recipe, and it does work. So, yeah, good question. Thank you,
That's good.
Andrew.
I got one more for you.
All right,
Un más.
maybe.
What am
Is
I?
that-
Maybe.
There you go.
All right.
Anthony Burke says, is static flow a big deal?
Fancy terms. Talking
Yeah,
about
that's what I was like, I don't
talking
know
about
what
like
that is.
power heads and stuff. Yeah, you definitely need power heads. The turnover in your tank alone generally is going to leave you with dead spots. You're going to have more debris that settles inside the tank and the rock. And most of your corals, soft corals, if you're doing an all zoantha tank, all mushrooms, they could probably care less how much flows in there, how much light in general. Like they're very forgiving. But as you start getting into any of those other corals, they need the flow for food to come to them, for them to kind of clean debris off themselves, for waste in the tank to be exported into the tank. So
Yep.
yes, power heads are very, very important.
Flow.
Flow, flow, flow. There you go. Shirts.
All right, we're giving away some shirts.
Do they get to pick their...
How many people smash the like button? Somebody tell me.
Mine won't ever update. It never says.
50.
Oh my God,
All right,
the
there's
video.
106 people in here.
What
We gotta
the-
wait.
That's 50%.
Just kidding.
That's horrible odds. Hit it now. You're already looking on your phone and go like, right this, and you're like, hit like. All right.
In all seriousness, when you smash the like button, it helps us out a lot. So if you can't do it, but we're giving away some shirts either way. We're giving away 2 of these.
Do they get to pick their version?
Sure. They're gonna reach out to Sport anyway. So.
Okay. So you get to pick get your knowledges in saltwater or freshwater, or dropping knowledges shirt. We need like little ramps. To
We
put
do.
shirts.
And we need
They
someone
can't
that-
see them. They can't see
We need
them.
someone that knows how to fold a shirt.
How about we just get a model and just stand in the corner?
Yeah, there you go. Someone that can just like.
Should have a shirt model off to the side.
All right, Emily. Got a job for it.
Negative.
I do actually know how to. I do know how to like fold them properly, but they're still lay flat. You can't
Okay,
see
then
them.
why'd you watch me struggle on earlier?
Because it's fun. Yeah.
My shirts, when they go into my drawer, I just go.
Oh, me too. I know how to fold them. Doesn't mean I do, but here I can. All right, doing shirts. 2 winners. Take your choice.
Good to go?
All right. Winners are AP
Boom.
Tank and Alexander Klein. Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. Reach out to support@waterboxaquariums.com. Give them your YouTube information, and they'll get you hooked up.
Get you all taken care of. So now you have your Knowledge shirt. You can get yours on the website. Super excited about these. I think it's fun because we kind of created that trend of the words, and people have asked for us to actually have swag for a long time. So now's your chance. See what other things we add to the lineup of clothes
hopefully
and stuff.
we got some cool stuff coming this year, you guys. Hopefully we'll coin some new terms. We can come up with some cool new swag.
Yes.
Got a lot of cool builds coming up this year.
Next week we are back doing some maintenance on the FRAG. So you want to see what kind of maintenance we're doing that's making it this beautiful, simplifying it. We're going to go ahead and do some maintenance next week, show you kind of some of the tricks that we do.
Yeah, so stay tuned for next week. We will see you then.
See you next week.
Thank you all for watching. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and hit those notifications.
We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us next week. Thanks for watching.